I do have some dark dreams. I don't know why. I've always had those when I was a kid. Really vivid dreams, which are often scary. But and I don't remember them very well.
What keeps you up at night?
Well, it's quite hard to run companies.
Yeah.
Especially car companies, I would say. It's quite challenging.
The car business is the hardest one of all the things you do?
Yes.
Because it's a consumer-oriented business as opposed to like SpaceX and...
Not that SpaceX is no walk in the park, but a car company, it's very difficult to keep a car company alive. It's very difficult. You know, there's only 2 car companies in the history of American car companies that haven't gone bankrupt, and that's Ford and Tesla. That's it.
Yeah, Ford rode out that crazy storm, huh? They're the only ones.
By the skin of
Mustang.
Same with Tesla. We barely survived.
How close did you get to folding?
Very close. 2008 is not a good time to be a car company, especially a startup car company, and especially an electric car company. That was like stupidity squared. Well, I mean, you could argue that any group of people, like a company is essentially a cybernetic collective of people and machines. That's what a company is. And then there's different levels of complexity in the way these companies are formed. And then there's this sort of like a collective AI in the Google search, you know, where we're all sort of plugged in as like nodes on the network, like leaves on a big tree. And we're all feeding this network with our questions and answers.
My question is, like, I know how much time you must be spending on your Tesla factory. I know how much time you must be spending on SpaceX, and yet you still have time to dig holes under the ground in LA and come up with these ideas and then implement them. Like,
I got a million ideas.
I'm sure you do.
There's no shortage of that. Yeah.
I just don't know how you manage your time. I don't understand it. It doesn't even seem humanly possible.
You know, I do basically. I think people don't totally understand what I do with my time. They think like I'm a business guy or something like that. Like my Wikipedia page says business magnate. No, I do engineering and and manufacturing and that kind of thing. That's like 80% or more of my time.
Ideas and then the implementation of those ideas.
That's like hardcore engineering, like designing things,
Right.
Structural, mechanical, electrical, software, user interface, engineering, aerospace engineering.
But you must understand there's not a whole lot of human beings like you. You know that, right? So you're an oddity.
Seems, yes, probably.
Do you wonder? Like, you're around normal people, you're like,
Not bad for a human, but I think we'll not be able to hold a candle to AI.
You scare the shit out of me when you talk about AI. Are you honestly, legitimately concerned about this? Is like AI one of your main worries in regards to the future?
Yes, it's less of a worry than it used to be, mostly due to taking more of a fatalistic attitude. But it's not necessarily bad. It's definitely going to be outside of human control.
Not necessarily bad, right?
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad. It's just outside of human control. Now, the thing that's going to be tricky here is that it's going to be very tempting to use AI as a weapon. It's going to be very tempting. In fact, it will be used as a weapon. So the on-ramp to serious AI, the danger is going to be more humans using it against each other, I think, most likely. That'll be the danger. We're all collectively programming the AI, and and Google plus all the humans that connect to it are one giant cybernetic collective. This is also true of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these social networks. They're giant cybernetic collectives. It feels like we are the biological bootloader for AI, effectively. We are building it. And then we're building progressively greater intelligence. And the percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing. And eventually, we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence. I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile. I tried for years. But the AI is informed, strangely, by the human limbic system. It is, in large part, our id writ large.
How so?
Well, we mentioned all those things, the sort of primal drives.
Mm-hmm.
There's all the things that we like and hate and fear. They're all there on the internet. They're a projection of our limbic system.
Does this,
in some measure, like, it's the success of these online systems is sort of a function of how much limbic resonance they're able to achieve with people. The more limbic resonance, the more engagement.
I think that the biggest risk is not that the AI will develop a will of its own, but rather that it will follow the will of people that establish its utility function or its optimization function. And that optimization function, not well thought out. I mean, even if it's if its intent is benign, it could have quite a bad outcome. For example, if you were a hedge fund or private equity fund, you said, well, all I want my AI to do is maximize the value of my portfolio. Then the AI could decide, well, the best way to do that is to short consumer stocks, go long defense stocks, and start a war. And that would also be quite bad.
The best of the available alternatives that I can come up with, and maybe somebody else can come up with a better approach or better outcome, is that we achieve democratization of AI technology, meaning that no one company or small set of individuals has control over advanced AI technology. I think that's very dangerous. It could also get stolen by somebody bad, like some evil dictator or country could send their intelligence agency to go steal it and gain control. It just becomes a very unstable situation, I think, if you've got any incredibly powerful AI. You just don't know who's going to control that.